And welcome everybody to another episode of Grounded TV, where today we're going to be going over one of Trudeau's most recent announcements that happened yesterday. We didn't react to it yesterday, so I thought we'd do that today, kind of go over it, more about the school food lunch programs and other things. But my favorite part, as for all Trudeau announcements, is the reporter questions. When that happens, that's when we get the juicy information and the unscripted questions that they don't want to answer. So we're going to be watching this and getting to that shortly here. And after this, we got a bunch of other stuff we want to get into as well. Saul might be joining me today. I'm not sure as to exactly when, but I've got everything set up so he can just hop in seamlessly. So whenever that happens. But good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, I guess, because it's later than we usually do the show. But thanks, everybody, for tuning in already, and we're going to get started right away.
Good morning. My name is Andrew Morton, principal of Aylesbury Public School, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to Aylesbury Public School today for this announcement. Before we get started, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge that we are on the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. We are one of 262 schools at the Peel District School Board. Aylesbury is home to a rich and diverse community of over 1,000 students, families, and incredible staff. At Aylesbury, this can be seen both in the classroom where we celebrate academic success, as well as...
Good afternoon, everybody. And Drew Coover, I know what you mean, but we still got to listen to it just because it's hilarious. That's my number one motivation. And also, it's just good to be able to argue with people who disagree with you if you're paying attention to both sides of the story. Because even if you don't agree with the side, I think it's helpful just to listen to it. Because when it comes to arguing with like certain relatives I have, knowing all this stuff comes in so handy, and they don't look at me like I'm just some crazy crackpot flat earther anymore, like they used to 4 years ago when certain things were happening.
Learning beyond the classroom, where students can be seen engaging in a variety of extra...
But good afternoon, Drew, Cryptomeria, and Rob, by the way. Yeah, snowstorm in Alberta, eh? My region too, we got hit pretty hard. We got like a foot of snow, so it's a lot of fun.
Extracurricular activities, such as cooking, the arts, and our athletic program. We are glad to have everyone here today and excited for this announcement as Aylesbury Public School, the Peel District School Board, the Province of Ontario, and all of Canada will be able to benefit as we promote student success through inclusion, innovation, and empowerment. It is now my pleasure to welcome to the podium Minister Kamal Khera.
Well, hello, everyone. Good morning. Bonjour tout le monde. Thank you so much for that kind introduction, Principal Morton. Before I begin, I want to take a moment just to thank Principal Morton and all the teachers and staff at Aylesbury Public School for all the work that you do day in and day out for our community. And of course, I want to give a special shout out to all the wonderful students that are behind us. A huge shout out to you.
Oh no, I didn't know that, Drew. No.
It's been a very busy, exciting day for this school, so I want to say thank you to all the teachers for making this happen. So wonderful, and glad to be joined here by my wonderful colleagues, of course, alongside our Prime Minister, my colleagues MP Ruby Sahota, Sania Sidhu, Maninder Sidhu, Shafqat Ali, alongside Minister Valdez and Minister Jana Suds. And of course, I want to acknowledge our provincial colleagues, Minister Parsa, Minister Dunlop, as well as Ms. Yetman, and of all the wonderful stakeholders that have joined us here for this very exciting announcement. Now, let me just say it's so wonderful to be here with all of you and to share some really exciting news for families and children right across our community and our country. Now, for those of you who don't know, Brampton West is one of the youngest communities in the country, full of young families, children, a community filled with big dreams and hopes. And this is a community that's growing, like the rest of our country. And we know how much our community benefits when we invest and deliver for families and children. Whether it is tax cuts we delivered for middle-class families, $10 a day early learning and childcare, or our Canada Dental Care program that is providing coverage to over 6,000 residents right here in Brampton West alone.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about this dental care program, and Drew in our Chad here is also piping in about it as well, saying that he tried to do it as well, and it doesn't come across that it's not very accessible. Sorry, I just got a situation here. 1 second.
Or the Canada Child Benefit that is helping over 26,000 children in this community of Brampton West with payments that just went out this Monday. We know these are the investments that have and continue to truly transform our community. And it really is a testament to the importance of investing in and supporting the members of our communities. And that is why, of course, I think it's so fitting that we are here in our community of Brampton West to make another historic announcement that is going to deliver even more supports for families.
Yeah, I think a lot of them are like forced to be there and don't want to be on camera. But yeah, sorry, I had to ban that random troll that came in here. Autumn Christian, good afternoon, Autumn.
Children right here and across the country. And to tell you a little bit more about this extremely important announcement, it is now my pleasure to introduce someone who has championed these progressive policies from day one. Please give a warm Brampton welcome to our Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Justin Trudeau.
Thanks, James. Appreciate it. Oh. That's their feed, by the way.
What a pleasure to see you all today. What a treat for me always to be back in a classroom surrounded by all the leadership and teachers of the school here. Also, all the students
Are
who.
you a trollcist? I got no patience for that. You're gonna come in here and just start spamming random racial slurs because it goes up on the screen. You're gonna get kicked. It's actually in the rules in the chat. Or I guess it falls under stay respectful, I guess. I don't know. It's only my only line is like sexual stuff and racial slurs. Like you can say whatever the hell you want. I don't care if an F-bomb slips through or anything like that. That's fine. That's forgivable. As long as you're not just spamming F-bomb repeatedly. I don't care.
I got to see diligently developing their leadership capacities as they're sharing school food programs, their fellow students, and understanding how important it is to bring a positive difference into the world with everything you do every day. Speaking of positive differences in the world, Canadians are doing and stepping up that. We're therefore seeing interest rates come down, which is making a huge difference. We're seeing record amounts of foreign investment coming into Canada to create jobs and opportunity and boost our economy in very tangible ways. So there's lots of things that are really good news for the Canadian economy. But at the same time, Canadians are squeezed. Canadians are struggling to make ends meet, even as our economy is strong.
Yeah,
and that's
because of you, our economy's not strong. We're going to be getting into that too. We're going to be talking about the dollar after this as well. I got some stuff queued up for that because it's so funny how they're saying our economy is strong and all this stuff. And then you have CBC and Global, of all places, saying, no, the dollar is like the worst it's been like ever. Like it's bad.
Government, we've stepped up with concrete ways to support families as we bring down
someone who hates trolls just because they're trolls, I guess. I guess, yeah, I don't know. I'm assuming.
Inflation. As we see interest rates come down, we've been able to deliver in a whole bunch of really concrete ways for people. What we've done on childcare, saving thousands of dollars a month to families right across the country at a time where costs were going up. Delivering dental care to over 1 million Canadians.
It was definitely a dad joke, Rob. I'll give you that.
On our way to 9 million Canadians, that takes off massive pressures on family budgets when they don't have to pay out of pocket for dental care anymore because they didn't have insurance. Moving forward on pharmacare, free insulin for people who need it. Free prescription contraceptives because everyone should be able to choose when and how to start a family. These are things that we've invested in to take pressures off Canadian families. But we know there's more to do. Canadians need even more of a break. And that's what we decided to do for 2 months starting in mid-December as we're taking the GST, HST, off of a whole bunch of really important items that tend to add up so quickly. And I know families are peering over their budgets, looking at what they can afford, making choices in the grocery stores.
Yeah, because of your poor leadership. Like I was having a conversation with a friend before a stream, and we were talking like, and he was looking at Canadian history, the state of the dollar, and he was saying like, there's nobody who's been as bad as Trudeau. Like in the last 100 years, like no one has been this bad. Like he is the worst prime minister I think Canada has ever seen, at least in the last 100 years, we can say for sure.
that are very, very current in their minds. Well, this is about making sure that people can afford to give their kids and give their families the best possible options. We're taking the GST, HST off of groceries, all groceries, for 2 months starting in mid-December. We're taking the GST, HST off of restaurant visits, and that's takeout and fast food as well. We're taking it off kids' clothes and footwear. We're taking it off toys and Christmas trees for the holidays. We're taking it off things that tend to add up very, very quickly for families to give people that tax break, that break that they really, really need. On top of that, we're delivering a Working Canadians benefit as of April. That'll be $250 to everyone.
Yeah, do you guys know exactly what categories of groceries don't charge GST? I think I know. But I'm not 100%. It's produce doesn't, right? And then there's like, I think meat. I think it's just fresh stuff like produce, meat, and dairy. I could be wrong on that. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Who worked last year but made less than $150,000. These are investments that are there to help people at a time where we are squeezed and as our economy is starting to really turn around in a positive way, to make sure that everyone can feel it, to make sure that people know that we are focused on them. But even as we do that,
The list is on the website. Okay, thanks,
we're
Drew.
stepping up today to deliver more school food right across the country with a huge agreement with Ontario that is going to set the bar for the rest of the country. It's really exciting because we made a commitment a number of months ago in our last budget that we were going to deliver school foods to 400,000 more kids right across the country.
Yeah, so all they're really implementing it on for this one he's talking about specifically, it's going to take place from December 14th to February 15th if they somehow unfreeze the house and it all goes through. It's going to be on prepared foods, including vegetable trays, pre-made meals, salads, and sandwiches. So like the deli value-added stuff, restaurant meals, dine-in, takeout, or delivery, snacks, including chips, candy, and granola bars, like all stuff that's great for you, right? I know Drew has something to say about that probably. Beer, wine, cider, pre-mixed alcohol beverages below 7%. So I guess everything that's not hard liquor. Children's clothing, footwear, car seats, diapers, children's toys, board games, dolls, and video games are the examples. Books, print newspapers, and puzzles for all ages. So I guess that falls into the toys again. I don't know why print newspapers are categorized and all that, and Christmas trees. So that's the full deduction of, and that is Newfoundland has taken on the full package, and they've implemented all of that from December 14th to February 15th in Newfoundland. From what I understand, that's what they're doing. And this is what he keeps talking about and what they're trying to pass nationwide. But it's still going to be up to these provinces, right? Like they can push back. So we'll see what happens.
Working with provinces.
Even if it fully passes, but.
And territories directly. C'est exactement ce qu'on est en train de faire aujourd'hui. On a fait la promesse de 400 000 enfants à travers le pays qui allaient accéder à la nourriture scolaire de façon plus facile et plus régulière.
Yeah, it's all about garbage. They're trying to. I was talking to Saul about this. They're trying to like incentivize parties, but like when you're acting like this is gonna feed families like by giving them more craft dinner and chips. Like it's you know what I mean. Like it's just it sounds silly, right?
A deal that's going to deliver aux nourriture scolaire.
Yeah, I don't think
right here
if
in
he
Ontario,
has his way, he won't let it through.
We've now reached a deal.
It's a huge deficit. It's a huge deficit, right? It's like pouring gasoline all over the inflationary fire in the name of helping people, right? He claims to be a firefighter, but he's just coming and lighting and pouring gasoline all over the fire.
Deliver healthy meals to 160,000 Ontario kids more over the coming year. This is a huge difference. We're talking about close to 10 million meals just for the rest of this school year, and obviously much more for the coming years as well. There we go.
Oh. He's like, there you go. I wonder if they had a big card that said applause, and that's when he's like waiting for them, like, guys, your cue card's up.
We know the impact. We can see it here at Aylesbury Public School. the impact that school foods has on kids and on the entire community. First of all, as a teacher, I remember well, when kids don't have full bellies, when they can't hear the teacher because of the grumbling in their tummy, when they're worried and low energy and not able to focus in class because they're hungry, we all suffer, not just them, but the future they're building and the future contributions to Canada that we know they want. That's why investing in school food
it's their feed again,
is about
guys.
being there for everyone. And it's not just for those vulnerable
It's a recording of a live stream on CPAC, and they're literally having these stutters.
kids, although there's always more support for them. It's for all kids, because more and more families, even if they have the means, are rushed in the
Yeah, what do you guys think about him going to Taylor Swift, eh? I thought it was like, I didn't think it's a big deal, but I thought the funniest part of it all was the cringy dance, like the dance he did. I can't find one without audio. So I can play it on stream later, but it'll have no audio just because of the music in the back. But yeah, it's pretty funny. I was like, it reminded me of when he was dancing to Espresso at that night market. Or I don't know, people just overlaid that song on that. It was all over TikTok. He was doing that weird jivey dance with the shoulders.
the morning, more people are trying to scramble to make sure their kids get enough good, healthy, nutritious food. This is there for everyone. It's to make sure that every kid has the opportunity. No stigmas, just support. That's a really important part of the program. The other really important part of the program that I've seen firsthand that schools are launching across the country is the fact that there's so much opportunity for student leadership. As students take handle of the program, they're the ones actually preparing lunches for their peers. They're the ones delivering the snacks. They're the ones being involved and understanding that making a difference in your community is one of the most satisfying things in the world. Knowing that you're there to help out, knowing that you're contributing the world for the better is an incredibly important thing to learn, that they get modeled all the time by amazing teachers, but they get to actually deliver support to their peers in a way that is transformative. And I do want to point out something, because there's been a lot of misinformation and disinformation out there. When we put forward this National School Food Program in the House.
Yeah, if he did claim any expenses on that, it'll eventually become public. That's how we found out about the $200,000 dinner, right? Was because they had to all submit their receipts to get reimbursed, and all that has to be made public. And that's why we saw Jagmeet Singh, how much money he expensed out as well. And that was a lot of scrutiny compared to how much his party actually brings in, or how much his party actually has, right? And he's like spending how much money and just expensing a lot of it. It was like $600,000 or something crazy.
The response of Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives,
expense to the Canadian taxpayers, sorry,
was, no, we're not supporting it because it's just more bureaucracy. Now, I know they read the bill before they voted against it, but the fact that they are misleading people about this is really, really frustrating. Because
he's misleading people about this. Like,
about $1 billion going to help kids right across the country and work with existing programs. There is zero bureaucracy created with this money. This is federal money that is going into schools, to provincial programs that will just increase the coverage, increase the amount of food for kids. So, it is inexplicable to many people why Pierre Poilievre, who keeps talking about understanding where Canadians are, doesn't want to actually solve any of the problems that Canadians are facing. He voted against dental care and tried to block senior.
Yeah, that's what I mean, right? He's spoken against all these other things that would have been huge deficits, like the old age security, and a lot of other things happening. And then he goes and does this and acts like it's his idea. Like, if he had just said and give the NDP all the credit for this, like, it would have been used against him regardless. Like, it's a lose-lose situation for him. The only way he can come remotely close to winning is resigning at this point. Like, it's a lose-lose situation no matter what he does.
Seniors from being able to access.
And lose-lose for the Canadian citizen and him.
The dental support that has had such a huge impact across the country. He stood against the childcare expansions and the $10 a day that's made a huge difference on Canadians. And he's now standing against pharmacare and the National School Foods investment that is delivering tangible benefits. And it shows the bottom line that he doesn't actually want to solve the challenges people are facing. He just wants to amplify them and convince everyone that Canada is broken. Well, when I see a school community like this one pulling together to deliver for each other, when I see all the advocates in this room have been fighting for greater opportunities for their kids, I see Canada at its best. I see Canadians at their best. This is what we're stepping up on, and to be able to say from the very get-go, the Ontario government was strong and enthusiastic about moving forward, about getting to this point and getting food, more food into schools and into kids' bellies as quickly as possible, is how Canada should work. Where different orders of government from different political parties can roll up their sleeves and deliver for Canadians. Not throw up their hands and say, oh, it's just all bad, it's all terrible, it's all broken.
He's not throwing up their hands. He's saying, look, you suck, Trudeau. We can fix these problems you've created or just mismanaged and neglected. That's what he's saying. Not that it's all broken and it's broken, that's it. Like, that's what, you know what I mean? Like, that's more like Jagmeet Singh.
Okay. That's not who Canadians are. That's not what we want to do. This is on top of so many of the other things we're doing. We recognize that Canadians are facing challenges right now, and that's why we've been stepping up. Stepping up.
This is them stepping up, guys.
With an increasing Canada Child benefit that puts hundreds of dollars a month in the pockets of families that need that support. Even the price on pollution we're putting forward, delivering a check of checks of $1,100 a year for a family of 4 in Ontario. That is more than they pay with the price on pollution. That Canada Carbon Rebate is an affordability.
Hello, the Grime family. It's funny, I've been rewatching Walking Dead recently in my spare time, and his name's Rick Grimes, so the Grime family just sounds pretty badass, honestly.
Measure. Helping out hardworking families at the same time as we're innovating and fighting climate change. There's so many different things that we are delivering for Canadians, and we are not backing down on being there to support people with the tax break over the holidays, with the working Canadians a rebate check, and with all the programs we've put there to help Canadians benefit from the fact that our economy is bouncing back stronger than ever. So it's an incredible...
It's not bouncing back stronger than ever. And we're going to be getting into that right after this. Like, he's full of crap. It's leaking out his ears. He's so full of it. Like, jeez.
Pleasure to be able to be with you all today. I'm looking forward to hearing from our other speakers. And I'll kick it off by asking Heidi Yetman, who is the president of the Canadian Teachers Federation, membership of which I was once proudly, and still, hope to coast on that a little while longer. Welcome up, Heidi. Great to see you here.
Where did that energy come from, eh? Yeah, we're going to skip past this lady.
Thank you very much. I'm a mother of 2 boys. I'm a teacher. I was a teacher for over 20 years.
Nothing against her, but we're here for the politicians. Oh, great.
And the government of Ontario for work.
Come on, CPAC.
Good morning, bon matin tout le monde. What an incredibly exciting day today is. I am so thrilled that today we are able to share that we are moving forward with the Government of Ontario to deliver. Over 160,000 kids will be able to access school food this school year. This is an incredible moment as we move forward in our journey of delivering school food across this country. And when I think about the work that we've been doing, I think about the volunteers, frankly, here in Ontario, in this school, across the country. I was speaking with a mom, Megan, last week at a school in Ottawa, John Young Elementary School. She's a mom of 3 boys, and she volunteers each and every morning in their school, helping to deliver their breakfast program. I think of Melinda, a teacher I spoke with recently, who shared with me that she keeps a drawer of granola bars available for kids who might be hungry, and I'm sure the teachers in the room can relate to that. I also think of the organizations, many of which are with us today, who have been doing tremendous work on the ground, supporting schools and supporting kids in trying to do more and ensure that kids have access to food at school. You know, we announced this, this program in the budget in the spring, $1 billion commitment to the kids of this country. And the federal Conservatives said it couldn't be done. They voted against it, as the Prime Minister has mentioned. They referred to it as bureaucracy. And I'll tell you, as we are here today celebrating, I have to say, when we can point to the 160,000 kids in this province that will get food this year in school, this is not bureaucracy, folks. This is rolling up our sleeves with great partners to make sure that kids are not at school hungry. It is making life more affordable for parents here in Ontario and across the country. And we'll continue to find ways to ensure that we're delivering for Canadians. We found a way to...
This is them delivering, guys. That's what I mean. It's like they always say, we're delivering. It's like, you're not delivering crap. That's why we're all mad. That's why we don't want you in office anymore. You're not delivering anything. You're delivering frustration and disappointment at this point.
Deliver affordable childcare through our national childcare program, where almost 1 million kids have been able to benefit from those investments. We found a way to deliver on dental care, where we've seen over 1 million Canadians be able to access that. Et aujourd'hui, nous continuerons à trouver des moyens de répondre aux besoins des Canadiens. But still we see the federal Conservatives not supporting this.
Oh my goodness.
And saying that they will cut this program if they were elected. Folks, this investment today, the impact of this on the kids behind me and kids across this province will be felt for decades to come.
You know how emotional it is for them to decide this? You notice that? It's all about, we feel this is the right thing to do. When they're putting morality above the economy, you know, there's an extent to that, right? When you go too overboard, you end up in this huge, giant deficit pit that we can't get out of. And doing stuff like this is just going to dig us deeper. Even if you want to, it's a band-aid solution that's going to bring on more long-term problems.
Les choses sont difficiles maintenant, et nous savons qu'il y a encore de travail.
It's not even about the fact that they're, I know they're feeding kids and everything, like that's great. But the thing is that we don't have the money for it. We don't have any money. You're printing more money, more debt. If you stop doing that, maybe people can afford to give their kids lunch.
Through the National School Food Program, we're sharing the good news of today, whether that be through $10 daycare, or whether that be through the Canada Child Benefit, or whether that be the good news we delivered yesterday, a tax break for all Canadians, giving them a break with affording the essentials through the holidays, through the expensive winter season, or whether that be the Working Canadians benefit, money back into the pockets of Canadians with a $250 check for workers who earned less than $150,000 last year. We will keep creating these measures and enhancing programs to support Canadians. So folks, with these 3 first National School Food Agreements announced, we will feed or support about 183,000 more children this school year so far. And that's just 3 provinces. And we won't stop the momentum there. We hope that all other provinces and territories will join along with...
That's what I mean. We're only one of the biggest reserves of natural resources in the world here in Canada. And with the fact that we have a shortage of natural resources being like, food, vegetables, produce, like, we have a shortage of like, lumber prices are astronomical, like all these things. It's like, why are we in this situation right now?
With us at the pace that we aspire to ensure that teachers like Melinda don't need to worry about that granola bar drawer, that volunteers like Megan have the support that they need to be able to feed even more kids within that school, and most importantly, so that we get food into schools across this country so that kids can focus on being kids. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. And it's my pleasure now to introduce Minister Parsa.
The speech is back here. I know that Indigenous in the elementary.
Affordability. We're moving forward 2 months again in
addressing food insecurity. And one is at night. Actually, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Okay, now we're getting into the reporter questions, the juicy part here.
2 minutes. Yes, doing well.
Good. Okay, so my first question is, Food Banks Canada reported a 90% increase in users between 2024 and 2019. They have said that they had like 2 million visits in March alone, and 1/3 of those visitors were children. So why should Canadians have confidence in this government's ability to ensure kids are getting fed and really addressing food insecurity?
Well, we've seen disruptions in the global economy, whether it's inflation, whether it's the pressures of recovering from the pandemic, or even the time through the pandemic, where Canadians were deeply impacted by so many different factors. That's why we stepped up on significant investments to support families, to support Canadians, to support kids right across the country. And why we're continuing to do that. For 2 months starting in mid-December, there'll be no GST on groceries. That's going to make a huge difference for family affordability. We're moving forward today with a concrete announcement on school foods that is going to not only put more food in kids' bellies so they can concentrate, so they can be better in school in their learning, but also it takes pressure off of grocery bills for families. We're talking about $800 in grocery savings for a family with 2 kids on average. These are things that are real in terms of delivering. We also know challenges with homelessness and insecurity are things we need to continue to step up on, which is why we've made such investments in working with provinces and municipalities to counter the challenges that are faced by the most vulnerable. We know there's more to do, but we're going to keep doing it. Okay. Ça fait plusieurs années que l'état du monde, des pressions, que ce soit l'inflation globale, que ce soit les dérangements et les perturbations dans la chaîne d'approvisionnement à l'international, même la guerre en Ukraine qui est venue affecter le prix des aliments et des denrées familles avec des soins dentaires, toutes les provinces.
They're also warning that it will create administrative headaches and confusion for smaller retailers. They're saying that a permanent tax relief would be far more ideal. So why not just do that, do what the NDP has called for, and permanently remove the GST on these items, and then maybe even go further and extend the GST cut to cell phone and internet bills and also home heating?
We know families are squeezed and they need a break right now, and that's why we're moving forward with a tax break that'll take the GST off of groceries, off of everyday items like kids' clothes and shoes, like visits to restaurant, takeouts, fast food, a of items that are going to make a huge difference for families that are facing higher costs. We also know that our economy is recovering and people are coming through the worst of the difficult times, partially because we've kept stepping up on programs that are directly helping Canadians, from dental care to pharmacare to this school food program today, to delivering more childcare spaces at $10 a day. These are all things we're doing to meet Canadians where they are, to support them through these challenges. And when you look at other parties, particularly the Conservatives, who've said they would cut all these programs that are helping Canadians, they even stand against school food programs.
Yeah, this is yesterday.
Which makes no sense unless you realize that the federal...
It's yesterday morning. It's just they do a recorded live stream. So even when they have interruptions like that, they just put up the raw unedited footage. So all that stuff, all those hiccups still get kept in there.
Conservatives are very much about amplifying people's anxieties and the problems they're facing, and not about actually solving them. We're in the business of rolling up our sleeves and solving things for Canadians. Doing it now.
Next question.
Ali, si vous pouvez répondre en français aussi, s'il vous plaît. Some Atlantic governments say they were blindsided by your GST holiday. Will you compensate the provinces for lost revenue?
I think every provincial government across the country understands how important it is to be there for Canadians who are facing real pressures around the cost of living. That's what we're doing. That's why we're stepping up to support Canadians, and I'm expecting provinces who see the challenges that their citizens are facing to realize that this is a way they can be there for people as they face the challenges of the next few months. Je sais que les provinces, à travers le parliamentarians were elected,
On the House?
que le gouvernement, et je suis très optimiste que les différentes façons.
I follow up. For 2 months, your government has been unable to pass legislation. Have you given up on the House? What are you willing to do to end the logjam?
Well, you know, it is really important for Canadians to understand that parliamentarians were elected to support people across the country, to make the investments, to make create the programs that are there to help Canadians at times of difficulty. And the fact that the Conservatives have totally frozen the way the House is working, totally bogged down, preventing us from being able to actually pass legislation that is there to support Canadians, sort of proves the point I was making earlier, that federal Conservatives care only about showing the problems people are facing and amplifying those, but not actually providing any help for Canadians. They want to illustrate that Canada is broken by breaking it for Canadians, by preventing us to solve the challenges people are facing.
They're going to break Canada because he hasn't done that yet, guys.
So we're going to stay focused on delivering these things. But I will point out, not just this tax break for the next 2 months that all Canadians are going to get, and the $250 check for Canadians who worked last year, which is going to make a big difference, and we need to pass that through the House. There's legislation that is going to deliver health benefits for refugees and asylum seekers that is not passing through the House. And we know Conservatives from under Stephen Harper, when Pierre Poilievre was last in government, slashed health benefits for those vulnerable asylum seekers and put at risk not just their health, but the health of all Canadians with that. That's what we need to pass in the House. We need to pass legislation around dental care, to deliver to even more Canadians the supports they need. Part of the school foods legislation is needing to be passed in the upcoming legislative session. So it's not just the Conservatives that have decided they want to block everything. It boggles the mind that the NDP is crossing its arms and saying, no, we shouldn't be passing measures on school foods. We don't need to pass measures on health benefits for refugees. We don't need to be passing measures that are going to support the most vulnerable. That's not who the NDP is supposed to be. So I'm really calling on the opposition parties to not let Conservatives continue to prove that Parliament is broken, and instead get busy delivering concretely for Canadians.
That's the thing, right? Is like if we weren't watching this, we wouldn't see how much of a like just floundering imbecile he is right now, and not to mention how extreme his rhetoric's getting. Like, just like, they're breaking Canada, they're destroying everything, the NDP. It's like, dude, just chill out, like, just resign. Like, why are you clutching so hard onto this?
Next question.
Rihanna Lim, Canadian Press. Why are you only giving the $250 checks to working Canadians and not others like retirees or people with disabilities?
Over the past number of years, we have been extraordinarily present in helping the most vulnerable Canadians, whether it's by increasing the old age security for older seniors by 10% to recognize the costs they're facing, whether it's there to invest in increases to the Canada Child Benefit to help families with young kids, significant investments in childcare that's taking a huge pressure off families. But as I travel across the country, I do regularly hear from working Canadians who are having trouble making ends meet, but saying, look, I don't have kids, I'm not a senior yet, and I'm facing challenges. You know, I'm lucky in many aspects.
Yeah, because of you dumbass.
In my life, but where are you going to see the work that I've done? And I realized that Canada made it through the pandemic because Canadians rolled up their sleeves and leaned in and were there for each other. We were able to bring down inflation and start to solve the housing crisis? Because Canadians worked hard to get us through this. So we're not reducing any of the other programs we're delivering to the most vulnerable, but recognizing hardworking Canadians, hardworking middle-class Canadians are making less than $150,000 last year, with a thank you and support for the things that they need to continue to do to keep our economy strong, to build a strong future. It's about seeing Canadians as the hardworking nation builders they are and giving them that support that they need at this time of challenge.
Next question.
Pleasant afternoon. This is Hamreen Kaur from Punjab TV. The recent announcement that was made on GST and HST has brought smile to the faces of the Canadians. However, there are decades and decades of long studies and researches that have shown that when a short-term tax redemption or reduction is done to any of the economy, it does not help economy to a very large scale, you know. It doesn't boom up the economy much. It is getting really hard for the Canadians to keep food on the table. The grocery prices are rising up like anything. Healthy meals for kids is a great initiative, no doubt. But we all know it all starts with the family. So when the families are not able to afford and keep food on the table, they are angered, they are frustrated, they are agitated, and somewhere we know it is all going to affect on the mental health of the kids as well. So even if the school is providing such great meals for the kids, but then if the family is not in that situation, obviously it helps to hamper the growth and development of a child. So what's your plan on that?
Sorry, which part of what you were asking about is the question? What's your question?
So I mean to say that even though you have made healthy meals for the kids, this great initiative, however, what plan do you do for what does your government plan to do for the families so that they can afford good meals, because the grocery prices are also going up?
Well, the most important thing that we needed to do to help families is bring down inflation. And we were able to do that.
Of all things to say, what do you think this is going to do? Like, God.
We brought down inflation, and we're seeing interest rates come down as well, which is making a huge difference for people and for families. That's why we're continuing to deliver the measures that are supporting people, whether it's childcare, whether it's dental care, whether it's investments in this school food program. And I take a little bit of issue with what you said about what the economy needs. What the economy needs is for people to be able to afford their groceries.
Yeah, so step down. Like, remove the carbon tax. Why are we paying like 37% more for our groceries than the neighboring states that live right over the border? They're like, people who live like not even 100 kilometers away from Canadian citizens are paying like something like 37% less just to survive. So why are we paying so much more? It's because of all the taxes this moron implements on all the production in this country, on farming, on natural resource production, all of it. It's all taxed. What does the carbon tax apply to? Everything. Trucking, food, agriculture, just everything. There's nothing you can't think of the carbon tax doesn't apply to. Carbon is the gas of life. You know, it's emitted by everything. It's emitted by livestock, by burning fossil fuels, like forest fires. There's so much that contribute to it. The fact that you're going to reduce to zero emissions is ridiculous. First off, I'm going to say that it's not possible. You can reduce, but you're not going to get to zero. You're not going to get to this net zero that everyone talks about. It's like when he talks about plateauing inflation. It's like, just to say inflation has slowed down doesn't mean that's a victory. It hasn't reversed. Since when is this an okay thing to accept? You know what I mean? Like, it's just wild to me. Like, just the lack of how far his head up where the sun doesn't shine. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know what to say. Like, I'm trying to say head up his ass, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't know. Just this whole thing just really triggers me.
What the economy needs is people to be able to be optimistic about the future we're building with good jobs, good opportunities for their kids. We're focused on Canadians. I'll let the bankers worry about the economy. We're focused on building opportunities for kids in a fundamental way, being there to support families, because an economy works when families are confident about the future. That's why we continue to grow the economy from the bottom up, from the middle out, while Pierre Poilievre talks about cutting supports for families, cutting the investments in the future that Canadians are going to be relying on.
Next question.
Nathaniel Dove, Global News. Prime Minister, in the past few years, the CBSA has identified 16 senior members of the Iranian regime living here in Canada, violating your government's sanctions you put in place after Masa Amini's death. So far, though, only one has been deported. Why is that, and why won't your government release their names?
We have taken significant measures to crack down on the murderous Iranian regime's impact in Canada and to hold it to account. We move forward some of the strongest measures available to Canada in our under our immigration laws.
Yeah, so this announcement's almost over. There's like 10 minutes of questions left. Then we're going to be getting into some news roll, kind of going against everything he's saying, like about our dollar. And it's actually one video from CBC I thought was hilarious. They put this out because it doesn't make him look good. It makes our government look bad. Because it's basically just the whole video just basically says it's mismanagement, right? So anyways, we're going to get into that after this.
Measures that only were brought forward around the Rwandan genocide and Bosnia to make sure that a number of Iranians who are involved in some of the terrible actions of this government do not ever be able to seek asylum or seek.
And yeah, I don't know what's going on with the chat. I'm having some issues with my chat overlay, which is preventing me. I'm missing a lot of messages, I think. I'm scrolling up. There's a lot I didn't read. So apologize about that, guys. I don't understand what the exact cause is, but I'll try and fix it.
Refuge in Canada. On top of that, we've listed the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps as a terrorist entity under our criminal code. We significantly their ability to have an impact on Canada. We know there is much more to do, and I can assure you that law enforcement officials and immigration officials and CBSA continue to step up to make sure that we're protecting Canadians and not harboring people who are out there to destabilize our economy and our country and hurt Canadian families.
Well, you're destabilizing our economy and our country, dumbass.
Sir, I didn't quite hear an answer about why only one has been deported yet, respectfully. Why is it so low?
The law enforcement and judicial system is doing its work. Canadians have confidence in that.
Taranjit from Red FM. Recently, a mainstream media reported that a Canadian security agency claimed Prime Minister Modi and the Foreign Affairs Minister are aware of the attacks on Canadian citizens. However, the National Security Agency stated that it has no evidence to support his allegation. Will your government investigate how an agency can make such a claim and how a mainstream media outlet can publish this story without any evidence?
Well, first of all, we have seen, unfortunately,
say what you want about Punjab TV, but that was a pretty good question.
That criminal leaks, criminals leaking top secret information to the media has consistently gotten those stories wrong. That's why we had a national inquiry into foreign interference that has highlighted that the criminals leaking information to media outlets are unreliable on top of being criminal. In terms of the issue, let me just repeat that my primary job as a Canadian leader is to keep Canadians safe. And everything we have done.
Everything he does is for your safety. Watch.
Over the past years in multiple difficult situations is to put the emphasis on keeping Canadians safe here at home across the country and making sure we're standing up for the rule of law. We will always do that.
Next question.
Catherine Brulotte, Radio-Canada. Je voudrais parler de la cible de 2% des dépenses militaires de l'OTAN. Vous pensez pouvoir l'atteindre d'ici 2032? Avez-vous des pressions du
Ce qu'elle a été, il y a un plan pour promouvoir significantly invested. We put forward first a plan on defense spending that increased by 70%, our defense spending, and then a more recent plan that is doubling our defense spending into the future. We're going to hit that 2% in the coming years. And we're going to do it in ways that are right for Canada and for Canadians as we defend our territory, but also as we protect and promote the rules and the values that keep Canadians safe all around the world, along with our partners.
The question that the students that are very patient behind you want to know, and my colleagues too, would be if you are going to the Rogers Centre when in Toronto, but that can't be my question. Le représentant
And he did go.
républicain Mike Turner a qualifié l'attitude.
Nous sommes un pays qui prenne nos propres décisions.
I think that's about it for the announcement.
share and more than our share, because Canadians always step up significantly when it comes to global challenges and conflicts.
Perfect. Hey, this is
Oh.
B from Y Media. Recently at the G20 summit, we did see a glimpse of you, President Biden, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi together. I wanted to know, was there any discussions that took place at that time, or was there a one-on-one sit-down? And how are Canada and India relations right now, and what is the government doing to work on them?
I had an excellent one-on-one sit-down with President Biden where we talked about a
Yeah, there's like 2 minutes left, guys. Like, this is important, right? Because he's still the prime minister. Can't just tune him out.
Range of issues, including a number of challenging international issues. We will continue to work with the United States. We'll continue to work with all partners around the world to defend the rule of law, to keep people safe, and to make sure that we're growing prosperity for everyone in all the right ways.
Thank you, Prime Minister.